Hey everyone, it's Coach Mo Fall. How are you today? I am super excited with Jajuana Patrick. Hello, how are you today, Jajuana?
Oh,
Great to see you. Jajuana is, of course, a wonderful kick ass alumni pretty recently, and I'm looking forward to diving in. Folks, these interviews are an absolute gift and a treat for me as a coach who has coached hundreds, actually, it's in the thousands at this point. Having these little precious moments to actually share one of our clients' journeys and be here. Joanna, thank you so much. As I mentioned to you earlier, it just really tickles me to share your story and to just to be here with you to hear it again and see you smiling and radiant as ever. Um, why don't we just kick it off with a little bit about sort of where you were career wise, uh, what's going on, and before you dive into that, I think I forgot to tell people who don't know me, I'm career coach Mo Fall. I'm the founder and creator of the Kick-Ass Career Workshop, where we take women just like Joanna through a 12-week transformational journey to help them lift their soul back up and get them in their dream job and in a career track that feels right and true. So, Joanna, where were you before we met?
I was a director working in the insurance sector, a director of talent management. And at that time, before we met, I really did love my job. But at the time that I joined the program, I was in a dark place
Mm.
and I was to a familiar place of extreme darkness. And so I knew how long it took me to get out of extreme darkness. And I didn't want to go that far because that tends to interrupt your personal life as well. I was also in a place where I was surviving and I was not thriving. I was in a good old boys network. I knew that, but I was able to navigate that. And our organization, I worked for a specific division of the company I worked for. And we had had our third president in 3 years. And dynamics changed in a huge way. My role changed. I was no longer that strategic business partner to our senior leadership. I was an order taker. My impact and value was massive before this change happened. And in the greater enterprise, I still had that impact and influence, but in a division that I worked for, I did not. And so that was just really hard for me.
And you were there for quite some time, so you had the political capital.
Yeah.
It just your world sort of got small and you got put into a box.
Yes, I was completely contained.
Yeah, yeah. How is that affecting your personal life?
It was, my husband noticed it. I even noticed me getting a little upset at my kids more, right? They're 5 and 7, not giving the grace that I need to give a 5 and 7-year old. I mean, they were 4 and 6 at the time. And so, yeah, it was starting to disrupt. I started to be cynical as well. And there was some negativity starting to seep in, and that's just not who I am at all. I am a happy warrior in my professional life and my personal life, and that was starting to dwindle some. So,
Hmm. What was it that I know everyone has sort of a story. What was it that sparked your interest in what I do and how I do it? Like, what was the aha moment for you?
yeah. So as I said a little bit ago, I had already been in a dark place at a pre-station where I was in a really dark place, and it had impacted every area of my life, and I had to pull myself out of that. And so I started leveraging some of those tools that I used during that time, but I knew how long it took me to pull myself out of that. And I was scrolling one day on Instagram, and this amazing ad came up that talked about, healing from the soul and being the best version of yourself, and embarking on like your dream job, and getting better in your career where you are today. And I thought, wow. The other thing I would tell you is in my role, I have the opportunity to leverage assessment tools and external coaches for leadership. And how I embarked on some of those coaching tools was from some borrowed coaching. I had got an executive coach for one of the leaders at a previous company. They were coaching this female leader. I was going through a lot of what she was going through, and I was taking copious notes. And she gave me one of the books to read, and so I leveraged that book. But I knew how long it took me, and I didn't want to do it alone. And this program resonated with me. And you guys talked about a clarity call, and I said the worst thing is go on a free clarity call, see what they have to offer. And everything that Coach Miliana, shout out to Coach Miliana,
Yeah.
and the questions that she asked me, open-ended questions that actually brought me to tears. And it makes me a little emotional thinking about it right now. I didn't need anybody's permission to move forward with this program. I knew I needed it. I knew it would help me be a better human being. And so I said yes immediately.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. As you know, the reason why I have this program set up for the soul first, and then strategies and advising and sort of helping our clients lead their career search, whether that be a promotion or a new job, is because I know exactly what that dark place feels like, and not being able to access enough help or the right type of help. Because yeah, you can read books and you can talk to people, but if your inner self is suffering, you got to go in there
Yes.
and do the work. And I know that it takes some courage, and I've done probably thousands of clarity calls over the years. I don't do as many of them anymore. But that is a nice deep dive where you can really like take a breath and see, for taking the time for you, what's really going on, rather than dance around it and stay busy. I mean, as a working mom, it's super easy to just plow through and do what you have to do.
Yeah. And I didn't want to do that. I knew that that wouldn't serve me or my family or my friends well. Is to put my head down and stay busy. And I had started to do that with this new dynamic in the division that I was in. I'm like, you know what? Let me just put my head down. Let me stay busy. And that frustrated me even more because that's not me. I am typically hired for my expertise and for that strategic lens to really help the organization align its talent strategy to the business strategy to set the company up to win. And I'm sitting there trying to be a worker bee and not getting noticed at all, pass up for promotions, promised 3 promotions, and none of them came to fruition. So I really starting to go into a dark place.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's very little that you can do strategically effectively when you're being, dare we say, treated like that in an organization. Because it's almost like they've cut off your limbs, and now you're just sort of flailing around with no power.
Yeah.
They've cut you down and cut you off like that. As you're going through the 12-week workshop, as you know, but just to let some folks know, we do bring you back into your soul at first so that we can do the other work down the line. What were some of the things that you either learned about yourself or just sort of your process as you were taking the journey with us?
I learned that I was starting to be an imposter, and that is a dirty word to me. Ooh, of being authentic, being my authentic self. And again, putting my head down, just getting work done. I wasn't happy. People took notice to that. Afraid to speak up. But I learned who I was. I learned who I was then, and then how to leap back to who I was before that, but then who I aspired to be. Like who I aspired to be. Doing a lot of the exercises and assignments helped me with that. It helped me look at some of the people that I really look up to, like an Oprah or Jay-Z, and those qualities that they have that really leap them forward in their careers. And those are some of the things that I aspire to be. So that really helped me in a big way. It taught me to be intentional too, intentional with how to manifest what I want, not just say it, but own it. And that was powerful because I had to own and believe what I really wanted, and everything that I stated that I would get within a certain time frame, it all came true. And I was like knocked off my feet every single time.
You know, let's spend a second on the owning it, because this, I think, is something that is what the problem is for professional women that I work with. I can speak to, but human beings in general. But for professional women, if you were knocked back, if we're told no enough times, we believe that version of ourselves. And then everything that we want in our career, in our life, and harmony and freedom and income seems like it's so far away from the version of how we're being treated at work and how we're being perceived, that it's easy to sort of give up on it, isn't it? To kind of be like, well, I guess that's not going to be my life now.
Yes. And let me tell you how easy it was. I gave up at work, but I was also in the process of launching my online boutique and merchandise. I still have it. I gave up on that. Like it truly knocked my confidence down where I gave up on me. And that was a scary place to be because I was excited about launching that online business, a side business, excited about our new strategy and our new growth strategy and how we're going to elevate and actually have a 5-year strategy just versus this 1-year strategy we had year after year at work. And so it all just knocked me back. And then it started to really trickle. And my husband and I went back to marital counseling, which we love counseling, but we're in a place where some things were starting to trickle out, right? And that just didn't feel good. So it was marriage counseling, the kick-ass coaching program, all kind of merged together to really help me elevate, leash, and become the best version of myself.
Yeah. I can remember a few coaching sessions where there was like this trepidation. Are you sure I could go for that? Are you,
Hmm.
are, do you really think so? Um, what did you pull together inside with the work? Obviously, there's something new to do every week, but at some point, the threads of all the best parts of you get woven together, and you go, "Yeah, I can." Do you remember sort of like how that came together for you?
I, I I don't necessarily remember the details, but here's what I can tell you:
Hmm.
is by week 2 and 3, I mean week 2 and 3, I knew I was on my way. I mean the pit happened. And I mean, it really changed me. Listening to the borrowed coaching, I mean, there was times when I had like a whole notebook of things I was going to ask you, and I'm in line. I don't know what number I am, but I've heard other women before me
Yeah.
talk that I'm going through. And by the time you and I got to talk, I'm like, I'm good. I don't really. um, and hearing other people's journeys. And I think as women, sometimes we don't support each other that way, but this program allows all women to be empowered, all women to be each other's support system, whether it's directly or indirectly. And it's just a beautiful journey. It really is. And so I knew by week 2 and 3 that I was pivoting and on my way. And I needed less and less coaching because I was getting it just hearing you coach other people.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny that you say that, because oftentimes we hear so often, I just want one-on-one coaching. I want to work with someone local. And it's sort of like, how did, with all due respect, professional woman A, how do you know how to choose coaching? When I coach in a group, because I do have a few one-on-one clients, when I coach in the group, client success is off the charts
Mhm.
because of exactly what you just said. Because not only are you feeling that you're not alone on your journey,
Yes.
you're in a community of energy. Everyone is going up.
Yeah.
And even if the borrowed coaching wasn't content wise helping you, just plugging into that is sort of like getting your battery recharged, isn't it? So,
Oh, and the other thing I would say, if I piggyback off of what you just said,
mm,
seeing other women elevate, seeing and hearing their stories of how far back they were, and at 8 weeks and 9 weeks where they are, and they're interviewing for 3 and 4, maybe 5 jobs, and they're getting offers that they're actually turning down. I mean, that does something to your soul. It helps you understand, it validates. Okay, you can do this. You are smart. You have a lot to bring to the table. And all those gremlins that you started to tell yourself in the beginning, they just start to diminish.
Yeah.
Um, so no, it's actually one of the best parts of the program is the borrow coaching.
And I want to do a shout out also to my team of coaches, because okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm pretty darn good, but I'm made better by the team. And I know you had the opportunity to work with my team, which includes, of course, resume and LinkedIn experts and that sort of thing to make sure that all the pieces of your journey are put in the right place. Um, when you were out interviewing,
Mhm.
I'm sure that some of the work you did with the other coaches on my team was sort of tucking you in the right spots and making sure that you felt supported and that you knew yourself strongly enough and you could talk about yourself. Just give me that, like in an interview, what are you thinking, knowing that you'd gotten all that support and expertise?
I was confident in interviews. I was confident. I was prepared. I mean, I would write out the answers to that 40 plus interview questionnaire. Um, and but it came to me like butter. I mean, I rehearsed it and, kind of looked at it and prepared, but I need it because I knew exactly what I was speaking of. I was speaking from, my lane, my power, what I've done at organizations to really help move the business. And it was because of coaching with Coach Portia, coaching with Coach Miliana, coaching with you, coaching with, oh, I can't remember,
Stacy.
Stacy networking, I mean, negotiating my salary, Stacy, in such a big way.
Yeah.
Resume is really what is landing me these opportunities, new opportunities, right? And landing new interviews. And so, yeah, I was confident. And I remember after one interview, I hurried up and went into the Facebook group. And I'm not that great with our social media, and I'm going to get better. But I hurried up and went into that group to tell everyone in there that I just really rocked and killed that interview. And I was confident that I did that. And those were the people that I wanted to tell first, not my husband. It was the kick ass ladies who were also going through what I was going through. So,
That's fun. That's fun. The sense of sisterhood in that group, to me is it's just so precious because to watch everyone support each other, be on each other's side, um, and I mean, where do you get a cheerleading crew like that ever in your life? And with all due respect to our families and friends, they have their biases. They're like, oh, Joanna, you really shouldn't go for that. Aren't you okay staying where you are? Like, right? They like throw things like that at us.
oh, a lot of my friends, I've had ambition since I was a baby. And I've always, oh, she's just too ambitious. She is just so over the top. And so that bias comes in with I'm competing with me and
Mhm.
people to be comfortable with where I'm at. And not that I'm not comfortable, but I know that I deserve more. I know I can do more. And I know what it will do for me and my family and the freedom that it will give us. And so I always aim higher. I go big or go home. That's just who I am. And I didn't need to explain that to everyone in the program. They supported me unbiasedly. So
Mm-hmm. And you've had a little bit of time in our alumni group, and just continuing to sort of get a sense of that big tribe of women who are all on that page. They're all moving forward. They're all supporting each other. And to have a tribe of humans, let alone women supporting women. I mean, I'm a nurse. My first profession, we were classically known to eat our young. So that was sort of like a bad reputation for nurses to have. It sometimes is true. But to have this big group of women who know how to be supportive, they're success minded, they're ambitious, they're spiritually based. What a great sisterhood to lean into no matter what and when.
absolutely. And really I've gained some friends along the way too. There are a few of my sisters in the program that we talk on a weekly basis, and we're helping each other. We're still pulling for each other. We're still rooting for each other. We're networking too. We are, you know, asking each other if we know someone in our space to help us continue on our journey. And so, I mean, it truly is amazing that I can pull from this group because this is where we all are versus pulling from other people who are going to bring in a lot of feedback that actually starts gremlins and it's not something that I need.
It's a lot of static when
Yes.
you're with others, when you're with a homogeneous group who are all on the same journey, same page, and mutually supportive. It's just that there's no static. It's
Correct.
so great. What would you say to yourself a couple of months ago, now that you're in a great job? Tell us about that. Tell us about the a little bit about the job you landed and how that went down for you. And then we'll do the what would you tell yourself a few months ago? And congratulations.
Thank you. So, the role that I am in is I am a vice president of talent management and culture transformation. Um, I definitely up leveled from a director to a vice president. My pay went up 64%. Um, huge, right? I was also promoted at my former organization. So I got a promotion right before I got this role. I ended up turning that role down. We went a little back and forth on negotiating salary. I will tell you my bonus at my former organization was quite dramatic. I mean, it was up to 75%. But I ended up taking a different opportunity outside of that company. And I also had about 3 to 4 opportunities going at once, where I was interviewing and getting close to really landing all 4. And what's funny about that is Coach Miliana, we had our second to last coaching call before I graduated. And she said, you'll get 3 to 4 offers in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what she knows. I don't know. But I'm like, okay. And I mean, I wrote it down. I was intentional and I did that too. And the third one was on its way. It was just taking a little longer. And she was absolutely correct. I mean, sometimes I think people can see how you morph, right? And how you really elevate more than you can. And so not that I had a ton of gremlins at that time. I was just like, wow, that's a lot of confidence in me. And honestly, it panned out. What I would say to myself um, a couple of months ago is you can do this. Like you can do this. You've pulled yourself out before, but now you don't have to do it by yourself.
Right.
You don't need permission from anyone to take care of you. That's what I would tell myself. One thing I would share with everyone is that prior to this amazing marriage that I'm in now, I've been married 8 years now, so I'm excited about that. I was married for 8 years before to another person, another human being, and the relationship turned abusive. It was already verbally abusive, it turned mentally abusive, and then physically abusive. And I always needed permission. And what I learned is that I brought some of that baggage to this marriage from a human being who never asked, you know, to be looked at in that way. And I was bringing that in every situation. And this time I said yes without going to anyone. And it was freeing. I talked to my husband and told him exactly what I was going to do. And he supported it. And I was like, what? But I brought that. And so sometimes, like those triggers, like the trauma from work brought triggers that I had from past traumas and relationships.
Yeah.
And that definitely elevated from that. So I would say no permission needed to treat yourself well, to get yourself in a better place that it's going to benefit not only you, but others around you. And I would say, you go, girl. You're going to do it. You're going to shine. You're going to elevate. You're going to be kick ass. And no backseas. We're not looking back.
That's right. No backseas. I love it. And you said something impactful. I want to put the spotlight on because for so many women, they make themselves wrong for having these trauma patterns. Look, when we're disrespected at work, passed over, it totally triggers historical disrespect. And that usually a human being will make herself wrong for that sort of line of energy going in the wrong direction. What it is all about is, I got to heal this big time because look how it's poisoning something that's good. And so, bravo for that insight. And that's why we do the work the way we do it, from the inside out, and get your soul vibed up. What's possible for you now, Jajuana?
My everything, anything that I want. I am on the verge of launching my online fashion boutique
Nice.
side. So I'm excited about that. What's possible for me is another dream job, right? So I'm in a dream job now, leaping to the next dream job. Um, the other thing that's possible for me is just continuing this journey. I've told Coach Miliana a million of times, I don't want this to stop. I'm happy to say that I'm going to the retreat, the Kick-Ass Retreat virtually. I plan to go in person next year. It'll work totally with my schedule. The sky's the limit. That's what's possible for me.
Isn't it great to feel that and not just say it, but to totally feel
Yes,
that you have infinite potential?
infinite potential. Yes, that's the phrase, infinite potential. And I can go anywhere I want to go. And this program was really evident of that. Everything that I said I want, I'm either on my way or I've already really knocked that goal out, and now I'm moving on to bigger goals and better goals. The other thing that's next for me is financial freedom. You know, learning your system, Coach Mel, of kind of segmenting my money. I'm on that journey as well, so that I can have true financial freedom, for me and my family. So
Fantastic. And wow, your kids are getting a real gift of having a mom who's evolved, insightful, emotionally masterful. Okay, because we do have emotions, things happen, but now you're a master of your emotions. You're in charge. You're in the driver's seat. And I am so delighted to have this conversation. I remember the first time I met you in the workshop. And I'm thinking, this is a woman who is ready to come out into her power, but she's got a lot of snares from the experiences that we receive as women, as a black woman, as a woman with ambition, because that adds to it, doesn't it? If you're a woman with ambition and you've showed it, you're getting a lot of pushback from the world.
and especially from my Black community, right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
Because
uh-huh.
here we have ambition as a Black culture. We're not always raised that way. We're raised where, okay, that's enough. They've given you enough, you're good. And no, I've never been good with that. Yeah,
You're my
I
kind of woman.
will be.
That's awesome. I really appreciate you sharing your story for the women, maybe men as well, who hear your story and just feel your energy of not just positivity, but it's authentically you're in your power. And I am just super thrilled for you and your family and what that means for them and your future. And I'm looking to keep seeing this Jajuana come on out more and more and really, really keep claiming it next level, next level. There is no stopping it. And I am super happy for you for that reason.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this program. I know I've said it on our calls. The return on investment, um, I can't quantify it in words. I just really can't. I will tell you the net promoter score is 100. I the women whose souls are dead where I currently work, right? And so I am promoting it. I reached out to Taylor. I'm like, I need a flyer, because this program works. I am a living, breathing ad for this program. And so one of the other things that really has helped me is my daily 10-10-10, meditating every single day, waking up with a grateful heart and writing down what I'm grateful for, as well as giving myself kudos. Oh my goodness, like bragging on myself. I mean, that has helped my confidence like soar. And I'm not at the 10 that I want it to be at confidence, but I am damn sure at a 9, and it is because of this program. So
That's so good. And that is really an ongoing soul hygiene. So, I mean, to me, that and the magic gets better and better the longer you stay with it, doesn't it? It just keeps getting better and better. Waking up with a grateful heart. Oh, imagine if the world was like that.
Oh, we'd be in such a better place.
Wow. So keep on rolling. I really have enjoyed talking with you, Jajuana. Thank you again for sharing your story. Thanks for believing in us and allowing us to pull you forward into your awesomeness. And the better it gets, the better it gets. So thank you so much, folks. Jajuana Patrick's story can be yours as well. She's one of 1,200 plus women we've helped, and delighted that she shared her story today. Know that if you're not where you want to be in your career, that's what we go for. But what we're really doing is helping you become the best, brightest version of you. And as Jajuana described, it that positivity, it affects everyone around you, just the way the negativity does. So be a soul-based, living, powerful human being. And if you would like to get started like Jajuana did, it's mofall.com/talk. Let's get you on a complimentary career clarity call and get the ball rolling. Jajuana, thanks again so much. Folks, it's mofall.com, everywhere on social media. We'll see you soon. Thanks again, Jajuana.